You know that headache you get when you skip your morning coffee? That's not caffeine leaving your body. That's your brain finally feeling how tired it actually is. And once you understand what's happening at the cellular level when that happens, you will never think about your morning cup the same way again. A few weeks ago, we made a short about what coffee does to your body in the first 60 minutes. Mental clarity, fat burning, heart rate, kidneys. And a lot of you came back with the same question, disguised as different questions. Why do I need 2 cups now when one used to work? Why do I feel worse on the days I skip it? Why can my friend drink coffee at midnight and sleep fine, but I can't have one after 2 p.m.? These aren't lifestyle questions, they're biology questions. The science here comes from decades of neuropharmacology research, much of it pioneered in the last 30 years as researchers started asking not just what caffeine does, but why the human brain responds to it so specifically and so powerfully. What they found changed how scientists think about wakefulness, sleep drive, and addiction, and most of it has never made it out of academic journals into language that makes sense to the rest of us. That's what we're doing today. Here's what's actually going on. Every hour you're awake, your brain is producing a molecule called adenosine. Adenosine is essentially a biological fatigue signal. As it builds up throughout the day, it binds to receptors in your brain, and when enough of them are occupied, you feel tired. That's not a malfunction. That's the system working perfectly. It's your brain telling you, you've been awake long enough. It's time to rest. Now here's where caffeine enters. Caffeine's molecular shape is remarkably similar to adenosine, similar enough that it can slide into those same receptors and block them, not activate them, just occupy them, like putting a key in a lock that doesn't turn. So the adenosine is still building up, the fatigue signal is still being sent. You just can't feel it anymore. That's not energy, that's the absence of tiredness. And here's the part that should stop you mid-sip. All that adenosine that built up while you were caffeinated, it didn't go anywhere. It's waiting. So when the caffeine finally clears, usually 4 to 6 hours later, every receptor opens at once. And all that accumulated tiredness hits simultaneously. That's not caffeine withdrawal. That's your brain's honest invoice, delivered all at once. So what does your brain do when it keeps finding its adenosine receptors blocked every single morning? It adapts. Specifically, it grows more receptors. If caffeine keeps blocking the existing ones, your brain's solution is logical. Build more docking ports so some adenosine can still get through. After weeks of regular caffeine use, research suggests you may have measurably more adenosine receptors than a non-coffee drinker, which means you now need more caffeine to block enough of them to feel the same effect. That's tolerance, not a character flaw, not weak willpower, pure receptor-level biology, your brain defending its own sleep drive against a compound that's been suppressing it every day. And this is why the person who used to feel alert on 1 cup now needs 2. Why does the person who swore they weren't addicted get a splitting headache on the one Saturday they sleep in and skip their morning coffee? The headache, by the way, is your now expanded population of adenosine receptors all suddenly getting what they've been waiting for. Adenosine flooding in at full force, causing blood vessels in the brain to dilate rapidly. That's the headache. That's the withdrawal. That's the invoice. Here's what I want you to hold on to as we go into the second half of this. Your brain built all those extra receptors to maintain balance, to preserve its ability to feel tired when it needs to. That's a system that's trying to protect you. The question is, are you working with that system or against it? Because it turns out, it's not just how much caffeine you take in. It's when. Most people drink coffee within minutes of waking up. It's the first thing. Here's the problem. Your body already has a built-in alertness system. and it peaks in the first hour after you wake up. It's called cortisol. Your body releases a surge of it in the morning as part of your natural circadian rhythm, a mechanism sometimes called the cortisol awakening response. Its job is to prime your brain for alertness, focus, and readiness. When you flood caffeine into that same window, you're not stacking alertness on top of alertness. You're triggering your adenosine blocking mechanism at the exact moment when your natural system is already doing the work. The result, your body downregulates its own cortisol response over time because it's learned that caffeine is coming, and you accelerate tolerance buildup faster than you would if you'd waited. The practical implication, supported by research from neuroendocrinologist Andrew Huberman and others, waiting 90 minutes after waking before your first coffee lets your natural cortisol peak do its job and positions caffeine to work during the mid-morning window when cortisol starts to dip and adenosine starts building more aggressively. You don't need less caffeine. You need better timed caffeine. Now, back to that friend who drinks espresso at 10 p.m. and sleeps like a baby. That's not a superpower. That's a gene. Specifically, a variant of the CYP1A2 gene, the gene that codes for the liver enzyme responsible for metabolizing caffeine. People with one version of this gene are fast metabolizers. Their liver clears caffeine from their system roughly twice as quickly as the general population. 4 to 5 hours, and it's largely gone. People with the slow metabolizer variant, caffeine has a half-life of closer to 9 or 10 hours in the system. A 3 p.m. coffee is still 50% present at midnight. This isn't about discipline. This isn't about building tolerance. It's about the specific enzymatic machinery you inherited, and it explains why caffeine sensitivity varies so dramatically between people who otherwise seem similar. You can actually test for this variant. Several consumer genetic tests now include CYP1A2 status. If you've always wondered why caffeine hits you differently than it hits the people around you, this is likely the answer. So let's pull this together. Caffeine doesn't create energy. It blocks the signal that tells you you're tired, and your brain adapts by building more of those signal receptors over time, which is why you need more of it to feel the same effect. The adenosine it displaced doesn't disappear. It waits, and it collects interest. Your cortisol system already handles your morning alertness. Caffeine works best when it arrives 90 minutes after waking, not before. And whether caffeine clears your system in 4 hours or 10 isn't a matter of habit. It's written in your DNA. Here's the reframe I want to leave you with because this is the full story the short couldn't tell. Caffeine is a loan. It borrows wakefulness from your future self at an interest rate set by your own biology. The people who use it best aren't the ones who drink the most. They're the ones who understand the terms of the loan. Now you do. Quick question before you go, and drop this in the comments because I genuinely want to know. Are you a fast metabolizer or a slow one? Can you drink coffee at night, or does a 2 p.m. cup keep you up? Tell us below. And if this made you rethink your morning routine, the sleep video drops next week. Because what happens to all that adenosine during sleep, the actual mechanism of how your brain clears its overnight debt, is just as wild as what we covered today. That's coming on the 12th. If you want to keep going deeper into what's actually happening inside your body, subscribe. We go further than the headline every single week.